Now, many Christians think that the Dead Sea Scrolls is their argument winner. In their minds, due to the poor research, they think that these scrolls prove the Bible has been preserved and passed on accurately. However, scholarship says otherwise. In an article entitled The Dead Sea Scrolls and the Bible by Dr. Justin Rogers, he says, for example, he's heard several times that the Dead Sea Scrolls confirm the text of the Old Testament in 99% of the cases. He says not only is such a figure untrue, this whole line of assertion paints an unrealistic picture of the evidence. First, most of the biblical scrolls, as we have seen, are extremely fragmentary and therefore cannot offer us a clear basis of comparison for the Bible as a whole. All right. He says, even in the Pentateuch and the Psalms, where the evidence is good, whole sections of the biblical text are completely missing or extremely have a lot of gaps in between them. He says, in these cases, the scrolls cannot confirm anything. And we are speaking here of the best preserved books. He says the situation is worse for the other biblical books. Another scholar, Professor Eugene Ulrich, professor of Hebrew at the University of Notre Dame, tells us concerning the Dead Sea Scrolls in an article, Dead Sea Scrolls yield major questions in Old Testament understanding. He says he repeatedly encountered scrolls that did and didn't look like what we call the Bible. His conclusion, in ancient times, two or more contrasting editions of many biblical books existed side by side and were all regarded as scripture. In other words, back then, the Old Testament was far different from what we think of today. Biblical scholar James Tabor says, as he was a guest on the Rationality Rules podcast, again, speaking of these claims of the Dead Sea Scrolls in response to scholar Eric Metaxas, said concerning that the Dead Sea Scrolls were, as he said, which show that we possess as our own Bible is precisely the same as what existed back then. Tabor responds, it's totally untrue. It's not fact.